Republican leaders are panicking as a shock poll has just been released by Ipsos Reuters, showing that only 25 to 27% of Americans or so actually support this unlawful war against Iran. And right now, the top Google searches in the United States are war authorization, Donald Trump's approval. Did Donald Trump get approval of Congress? In addition, by the way, to Epstein. And so now Donald Trump has sent out his MAGA sycophants and stooges to tell the American people that we are not at war. There is no war taking place. What's occurring is just strategic strikes, not war. Now, Donald Trump previously said we're at war. I mean, in one of those bizarre and deranged videos he did at Mar-a-Lago, since he couldn't bother to go to Washington, D.C. when doing this unlawful war, he said, yeah, it is a war. Others in the Trump regimes have referred to it. We're in a war right now, and stop freaking gaslighting us by saying that we're not in a war right now. That's absolutely absurd. So Democratic Congress members have pushed back, and they're working with some Republican Congress members like Thomas Massey and others to force a vote for a war powers resolution to prohibit Donald Trump's war against Iran without congressional approval. I mean, it is already unlawful. And MAGA Mike Johnson and all these MAGA Republicans now are fighting tooth and nail. And they're trying to whip up all of the support amongst every Republican to try to block any attempt to restrain Donald Trump's unlawful war against Iran, where we've already had a number of service members who have been killed and seriously injured. Now, this also comes when Donald Trump has told members of the media like Jonathan Karl at ABC and others that one of the main reasons we've gone to war is because in his paranoia, he says, the Ayatollah was going to kill me, so I killed him first. Okay. And also Donald Trump said, expect this war to last many, many weeks. And expect, he says, that the Pentagon predictions are that there will be a lot of casualties. A lot of Americans are going to die. A lot of American service members will die. That's what the Pentagon's telling Donald Trump. But what Donald Trump said is, look, it is what it is. Like, this is just what happens in war, and this is what it is, and there will be lots of deaths from American service members. So then you have people like Donald Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, who's like, in response to the service members who died yesterday, Ambassador Waltz, I hate to call him an ambassador, he was like, freedom is never free. And then you have other kind of Trump sycophants, Bill Ackman and others are like, this is the most glorious way to die. Dying in Iran is the most glorious form of death. And then you have Lindsey Graham saying, this would be an honor. These are direct quotes. Lindsey Graham's like, it would be an honor for you to die in Iran. This is the highest form of patriotism. And so now we have the Epstein class, Donald Trump and his whole cabal covering up the files, sending our service members to die in a potentially never-ending war that's already spiraling out of control. That's what's actually going on. So I want to bring the receipts for you. I want to share with you what these MAGA Republican Congress members are saying. I want to show you what the Democratic Congress members and senators, MAGA Congress members and senators, Democratic senators and congressmen, what they're saying right now. I want to bring you the receipts. The first data point I want to show you, though, is what Brian Stelter had to say about the Google trends right now, that everybody's searching, for Trump approval. Trump, did he get permission? Play this clip.
Caitlin, if you look at Google Trends data right now for the word Trump, look at the rising searches. You'll see the number one rising search in the last 24 hours is a question. The question is, did Trump get congressional approval? The answer is no. The number one rising search in the last 4 hours, really interesting. It's Trump addresses nation. So in other words, people are literally searching online, looking, trying to find out if the president is addressing the nation. They want to see him explain and justify these strikes. And if you look at the word Trump in just the last hour, the number one rising search in the last hour is Trump approval rating. And of course, all of those searches, they're all related, right? They're all from Americans trying to find out more information about this military effort. We should also keep in mind the Pentagon has severely restricted the flow of information to the press this year. Actually, in the past 14 months, a lot less information coming out of the Pentagon about these strikes as well, Caitlin.
All right, now let me bring for you the other receipts right now. So the first clip I want to show you here is Anna Paulina Luna. And Anna Paulina Luna says the following when she is asked about the war with Iran. Here's what she says. Let's play this clip.
About is that we will not put boots on the ground there, period. Case closed. We will not vote on having a war with Iran because as of right now, according to the plan, which I won't say too much on television, but according to the 3 objectives that this administration outlined, everything is going according to plan.
Now she says the plan is so secret that we're not allowed to know what it is. It's a secretive plan. No one can know, but it's all going according to plan. The hell does that mean? What's the plan? What are the objectives? What are we trying to achieve? What's happening? This was originally about uranium enrichment. Now it's about regime change, but now it's Donald Trump is also saying that actually we don't need to change the regime. This is what, right? Donald Trump said, what we should be doing is very similar to what happened in Venezuela, where someone else in the Maduro regime took over. So Donald Trump saying when it comes to Iran, at this point, we should just have another Ayatollah who was close to Khamenei, Ayatollah Khamenei, find someone there from the Islamic Republic that maybe is a little bit nicer to Donald Trump. That's a direct quote. He says Venezuela is the good template. Okay, more from Anna Paulina Luna here, where she says strategic strikes are not wars. Here, play this clip.
Members, there are multiple wounded. And again, it is not the intention of the U.S. government to invade. That is not what is happening. These are isolated, strategic, large-scale attacks. But again, there are negotiations that will take place, or at least open communication with the White House as soon as the president decides that he is willing or ready to talk. And that has developed in the last couple of hours. So that update will come hopefully later on this evening.
I'm sorry, you say it's not the intention of the U.S. government to invade? Did we not just invade?
We are not invading. Are you seeing boots on the ground there? Because I'm not. And I've been told directly by the State Department and the White House that that's not the intention.
I mean, we just killed the leader of the country. That's not... Okay.
Targeted strategic military strikes and invasions are 2 totally different things, according to military terminology.
They're calling it a war. The president has called it a war.
And targeted airstrikes.
Strategic strikes, and according to the White House, and I just talked to them and talked to the Secretary of State, strategic strikes are not war.
Really? So if someone bombed America,
do you see boots on the ground?
War? Oh wait, that makes no sense. So you're saying it has to be boots on the ground?
According to your own by definition,
so that's your standard.
The regime of Iran has killed thousands of Americans and murdered them. So by definition, they've already declared war on the United States.
I know. I've had Shiite missiles raining down on me too. I know how terrible the Iranian regime is. We are not debating that they are a truly terrible regime. What we're talking about is the standard for the commander-in-chief to commit our sons and daughters in the military to war, and going to war when it is in the national interest and making that case to America and going to Congress and getting approval for war. So you are saying this is a limited mission that is only bomb strikes, so there is no congressional authorization necessary. How is this different from when Joe Biden bombed the Houthi rebels in Yemen without congressional authorization, and you oppose that?
Now, this is something that was echoed by MAGA Republican Senator and Trump sycophant Markwayne Mullin. Wolf Blitzer says, so are you okay with the losses and the fact that if this war drags on and more members of our military die, are you okay with our members of our military dying in a war? And then Markwayne Mullin's like, I'm going to have to push back at you, Wolf. We're not at war. This is not a war. Here, play this clip.
In his announcement about this military operation, President Trump warned Americans to prepare for possible troop deaths. If this war drags on for weeks or longer, for that matter, and U.S. casualties mount, are you confident that the American public will consider this a noble mission and tolerate growing U.S. military losses?
Well, first of all, I'm going to push back. This isn't a war. We haven't declared war on Iran. We're not at war with the Iranian people. We had to remove a murderous regime that's been attacking the United States for 47 years. Him and his murderous thugs have killed thousands and murdered thousands of Americans for literally 47 years. You heard the president's announcement. He went through all the attacks that they've had through multiple presidents. And the straw that I would say that broke the camel's back, or the final straw, is we're never going to allow the #1 world sponsor of terror to be able to get a nuclear weapon. There was no doubt that they were building delivery systems to affect our interest and our assets all around that region. There's no question they were trying to develop a weapon that would reach the United States, and at that case, it wouldn't have been a matter of if, it'd be a matter of when. And so after 9/11, America had a resolve that said, we will never do this again, meaning never again. We'll never be caught flat-footed. We're going to be proactive and go after those that threaten us. And President Trump finally had the backbone that other presidents haven't to finally try diplomacy, and try diplomacy by saying, you're not going to get a nuclear weapon. We're not going to negotiate with you. We're not going to allow you to enrich because you can't be trusted. You're not going to have the nuclear capability. And if you do, then you're going to pay the ultimate price.
And then you have Nancy Mace seeming to say thanks to Donald Trump for the deaths of U.S. soldiers. Here, play this clip.
Right off the bat, your reaction to 3 U.S. service members being killed in the early stages of these combat operations, the president saying their sacrifice was worth it for this greater mission, and he's also preparing the American people maybe for more deaths by saying it's likely more service members could die. What do you make of the first 48 hours or so of this mission, and what questions do you have for the administration moving forward? They're expected to brief you and others in Congress on Tuesday, as I understand it. What's going through your mind tonight?
Well, number one, I want to thank President Trump for his speech today, acknowledging those who sacrificed, these warriors laid down their lives for our enemy, fighting and protecting American citizens here and abroad, because terrorism isn't just in Iran, it's everywhere around the world. As we've seen in the last 24 hours, it's something to take seriously. Head on a swivel, as they sometimes say, number one. Number two, I believe President Trump will go down as the most consequential president in American history during one of the most consequential times in world history. And he took out someone that no one thought this could ever happen, taking out the leader of the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, the Ayatollah Khamenei.
Are you tired of waking up hungover and worrying about what happened last night? That's why I've been reaching for Willie's Remedy Plus, the THC-infused social tonic that lets you have fun and actually feel good the next day. If you're trying to be more intentional this year, Willie's gives you that social uplifting buzz without wrecking your goals. For me, it's perfect for unwinding after a long day, socializing without alcohol, or even getting a little creative. It kicks in fast, feels smooth and euphoric, and there's no hangover waiting for you in the morning. Willie's is a premium THC-infused social tonic crafted by the legendary Willie Nelson, inspired by Willie's way of living, where peace flows freely and hangovers are a thing of the past. It is a low-calorie, low-sugar, alcohol alternative that actually works, delivering a fast-acting, euphoric social buzz without the regrets that come with alcohol. Willie's isn't that feared edible you ate too much of in college. Each bottle is third-party lab-tested for accurate dosage with a unique blend of THC, CBD, CBG, and L-theanine that delivers calm, clarity, euphoria, and relaxation. Willie's social tonics come in 5 milligrams and 10 milligram doses with a best-in-class flavor experience, so smooth and balanced you barely realize you're drinking a THC product at all. You can enjoy the tonics as a shot, sipped over ice, or mixed into your favorite mocktail. One shot of Willie's helps you relax, unwind, and distress. Perfect for taking the edge off after a long day or socializing with friends. Willie's offers the kind of feeling that makes good company even better. Willie's sold out 3 times in the first 6 months with over 50,000 happy customers, and they just restocked. Willie's ships directly to your doorstep in 40 plus states. Order now at drinkwillies.com and use code Meidas for 20% off your first order, plus free shipping on orders over $95, and enjoy life in the high country. That's drinkwillies.com, code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S.
So then you have Lindsey Graham, who had always been talking about regime change. Now he says the goal of this operation is not regime change. Okay, Lindsey, let's play this clip.
The goal of this operation is to change the threat, not the regime. when this operation is over, no matter who takes over in Iran, they will not have ballistic missiles to hurt us, Israel, or the region. They will not have the capability to be the largest state sponsor of terrorism, whether it's a cleric or a group of representative of the country where there's an election. It doesn't matter right now.
Then you have Lindsey Graham saying, what happens next in Iran, I hope that it's better, but it's ultimately their decision to make. We are not going to own rebuilding Iran. So we're just going to do the destroying. We're not going to own the rebuilding. And it's not about regime. What the hell are y'all talking about? I truly don't know. I don't support regime change wars. I also have no clue what are we doing? What the hell are we doing there? Play this clip of Lindsey Graham.
What comes next, I hope and pray it's better. I believe it will be, but I know this. Iran can't hurt us today like they could yesterday. And this operation was about taking those threats off the table. I will be glad to help to the extent I can, new people in Iran, but we're not going to own rebuilding Iran. That's up to the Iranians. We can be helpful, but it's their decision to make. This is not Iraq. This is not Germany. This is not Japan.
Well, how about MAGA Republican senator who chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, Tom Cotton? And when Cotton was asked, do you believe the American people are owed some explanation by the commander-in-chief about what the hell is happening? What is going on right now? Tom Cotton's like, he posted on Truth Social. He did a Truth Social post. So he did an 8-minute Truth video. So what else do you want him to do? Not a Truth Social video, actually address the American people, describe the intelligence, explain what the hell is going on. We know that Donald Trump's own regime briefers, right? People who brief Congress, they told Congress that actually Iran never posed an imminent threat against the United States regarding any direct strikes, and that Iran would only strike if Israel attacked first. That's the only way Iran would say they would attack our bases. That's what Trump's own regime briefer told Congress. But go on, Tom Cotton. Go on, Tom Cotton. Here, play this clip.
According to CBS polling, 74% of Americans said that Trump would need approval from Congress for military action against Iran. He did not seek that. If this operation takes weeks, which is how you described it, do you believe the administration has effectively made its case to the American public to expect casualties, to support this action?
Well, Margaret, I thought the president's 8-minute video yesterday was outstanding. It laid out Iran's 47-year campaign of terror and revolutionary violence against the United States and our people, and really the civilized world. I'm sure the president will speak more in the coming days.
47 years. He did not describe imminence or justify that in that video. Do you believe that the American public is owed something more than a Twitter video?
Well, Margaret, I think an 8-minute address to the American people, whether the president posted on social media or whether it happens on your network, is in keeping with presidential custom of addressing the American people. Again, I'm sure that he's going to be speaking more in coming days. The administration will be briefing Congress, and we're going to have a vote in the Congress. The Democrats are forcing a vote. I expect there'll be overwhelming Republican support for our troops, for our troops, and for the president's decision to finally eliminate the threat of Iran.
Or how about, this is why none of these people in the Republican Party are moderate, right? You had Mike Turner claim that he was this moderate guy, and I'm here just to be, I'm the sensible Republican. But here he is, and he says the reason we invaded Iran, he says, is because while they didn't have the capability to do nuclear weapons, they had the intent to do it one day. So now the United States invades if we believe that you have an intent. Not if you do it, we just perceive intent, and then we invade you. Here, play this clip.
Inventory, they had continued, as had been declared, to pursue their intention of nuclear enrichment. They had continued.
Rubio said they weren't enriching.
They had continued their intention to pursue nuclear enrichment. They had said and declared that they were going to do that. Their programs had not been completely abolished, and their intention had not been abolished. They remained a threat, and the fact that we had the ability to intervene, that imminence is incredibly important.
Now, more from Tom Cotton here. Let's play it.
A key part of President Trump's campaign, and it included it in his inaugural address, was no more wars. And there are a number of Republicans who think that this is the opposite of what they voted for, that the president is breaking that promise. Tucker Carlson told ABC the president's decision to strike Iran is, quote, absolutely disgusting and evil. What do you say to members of the MAGA base who say this is not what we voted for?
Well, Dana, I've been on the campaign trail all across Arkansas for the last 2 days, visiting with hundreds of Republicans. I haven't heard a single Arkansan express anything but unqualified support for President Trump and for his decision to finally put America's foot down and end 47 years of terror and revolutionary violence by the Islamic Republic against the United States and our citizens. And I suspect you'll see overwhelming support from elected Republicans in the Congress who are answerable to our voters in places like Arkansas and states all across the country when we're back in the Capitol later this week.
One of the things I want to point out as well is, and The Atlantic wrote about this last night. There's a good scoop over there, although it's kind of obvious too. Now Donald Trump says we're going to invade Cuba. Part of this plan is Cuba next. Donald Trump's already getting bored of Iran. He's bored of this. He thinks we've won. We've achieved victory. So now he's moving over to Cuba to do a Cuba invasion next. And here's what Democratic Senator Warner had to say about the intelligence that he was aware of before the strike on Iran. Here, play this clip.
You heard Chairman Cotton say that the president's decision is completely justified. What do you think?
I think the president has started a war of choice. There was no imminent threat to the United States. So the decision to put our service members in harm's way and bases around the region in harm's way was entirely based upon the president's decision, not an imminent threat to America. I think it is incumbent that the president of the United States comes before the American people and the Congress and makes the case of why he has chosen to go to war at this point.
Then you have Democratic Congress member and veteran Ryan. Here's what he has to say. Let's play it.
Just on the deaths of these 3 service members, obviously that's 3 families that are getting a devastating call tonight to tell them about what happened to their loved ones. What do you make of that?
It's horrific. I still wear this bracelet with the names of my fellow soldiers I lost in my 2 deployments. And for the president to not answer those questions, to have nothing to say to those family members is pathetic. It's pathetic. And it's because he doesn't have answers. There's not a plan here, or if it is, he's not sharing it with the American people. And this certainly rhymes with past ill-conceived, half-baked regime change wars that sound good until they start, and then all of a sudden no one knows what the heck is going on, and it's young American men and women that pay the price, and that pisses me off.
More from Democratic Congressmember Ryan. Here you see the difference between what these Republicans are saying and what these Democrats are saying. Here, play this clip.
Meanwhile, Putin, Xi, I believe the PRC is our greatest enemy. They're watching this, seeing us bogged down with 2 carrier strike groups, depleting our munition stocks. And I think that puts us in a less safe position. And I don't want to say that. I don't say it lightly.
Well, and on munitions, you make a good point, because we know from reporting, which the president disputed, that the Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane was worried about an extended operation and what exactly that could look like.
And by the way, here's what the Pentagon briefers ended up saying. Let me play this clip.
Yeah, Caitlin, just like most of the administration's explanations for why was this operation against Iran launched now, this briefing happened in private, but we're told that Pentagon briefers did make a stark acknowledgement, and that was that no, there was no indication that Iran was preparing to preemptively strike U.S. bases in the region in anticipation of some sort of an attack from American and Israeli forces. And that's something that senior administration officials had said on Saturday that they believed was true, and that was something that contributed to the timing of this operation. So raising more questions still as the president we haven't heard from him about his reasoning, his justification, and his plan going forward as this military operation continues.
Then finally, I'll share with you what Democratic Congress member Adam Smith had to say. He is the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee for Democrats. He says this is the most cavalier, most arrogant, most unconstitutional and unlawful way a president in the history of the United States has gone to war, has dealt with Congress. Listen to what he has to say. Play this clip.
It sure looks like President Trump made a knee-jerk decision without taking into account all the warnings. And by the way, everything that has played out, people were saying this was the problem with launching a regime change operation at Iran in the first place, that Iran would strike throughout the region. We would lose service members. We would begin to stress our amount of ammunition to keep this fight going. And it was highly unlikely that the Iranian regime would simply collapse. All of this was known. The risks were known. And the president, this is the most cavalier manner that any president has ever gone to war in the history of this country. I mean, he does an 8-minute Truth Social post at 2:00 in the morning, then basically drops the mic and walks away and lets the war go. I, as the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee, still have not heard from anybody from the Department of Defense, nor has Chairman Mike Rogers, the Republican chairman of my committee, or in the Senate. You know, they're launching this war without a clear explanation of why or what they're trying to do, and then saying, yeah, some people are going to get killed. I mean, you have to take much more responsibility for placing the lives of the men and women who serve our country on the line than that.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers together. Thanks so much for watching.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.